All right, so let's get some more trading ideas now. Yogesh Mehta of Motilal Oswal Securities joins in. Siddharth Bhamre of Angel Broking is also sitting by with us. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Yogesh, I want to start off with you. You have an interesting list of buy calls today. A buy on Zee Entertainment this morning.
Yeah, on the technical setup, we have seen it is a low volatility Vela stock, but closing is 401, which is showing a good sign for an ongoing setup for a bullish pattern. So we are looking at Zee as a buy, and 401 is the current market price. Keeping a stop loss of 391, we are looking at 420 as a price target.
Okay, let me run through your stocks, Yogesh. First, good morning to you and thank you for joining us. Axis Bank first, you have a sell on that stock.
Yeah, see, since last 7-8 sessions, we have seen that Axis Bank is not crossing over 517, 520 levels. Current closing is around 491. What we are looking at is keeping a stop loss of 500, which is now average, which has been nearby trading average. So keeping a 500 as a stop loss, one can look at selling Axis Bank, and target would be 460-61 range.
Okay.
The other one is Ashok Leyland that you have a buy call on.
Yeah, certainly. Ashok Leyland is the only stock which seems to be a very strong contender for an up move, and the setup is very strong. We have seen a correction in between also, but that is a buy on dips kind of a strategy is it should be implemented. Keeping a nearby stop loss of 91 rupees, current market is 94. One can look at 100 rupees as a price target, which was the earlier high of 99.90.
Okay. Don't go away, Yogesh. We will want your advice on the indices as well, Sensex, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. But let's get Siddharth Bhamre in as well into that conversation. Good morning, Siddharth. What's the first strategy before I come to your shares on the Nifty or the Bank Nifty?
Good morning, Lata. We have been listening that, that market is taking resistance around 8200 and trying to come down. But if you look at FIS statistics, which we closely follow, throughout this series, to our surprise, they have gone long in index futures worth more than 4,500 crores with rise in open interest, and most of the build-up happening in Nifty. Though Bank Nifty is underperforming, defensive components and other components of Nifty are doing well and taking markets higher. This is not a conducive environment in which FIs are buying index futures, and we would recommend to short. So what we are suggesting at this point of time is, though we still believe that this up move is not sustainable because we are not seeing huge cash based buying. Historically, we have seen that whenever bottoms have been made, FIs come with strong cash-based buying as well, like 1,500 crores on daily basis. But cumulatively also they have not crossed 2,000 crores of buying in this series, which suggests that the momentum may not continue for long. But is data suggesting you to go short? Answer to that is no. What I would strongly recommend people is to buy some put options against their long positions if they have. IVs in last 3 trading sessions have come down, and post Infi number it has further come down. Around 17.5 we are seeing IV, which is quite low looking at the current market scenario. So we are around 8150, 8200 odd levels. We should buy some put options and keep for probably 1.5 week.
Okay, so that's the call on the Nifty itself. Prakash, apart from Minda, you've picked out another stock for us, which is Carborundum Universal. Well-tracked stock. What's the upside looking like there?
Yeah, so, the numbers, the way the IIP numbers have come up and the kind of growth we've seen in the core sector very clearly, and this is not just the first month, we've seen that in the previous month as well, so the trend seems to be firming up, and this rebound in industrial activity will spur a huge growth in consumables within the industrial engineering stroke capital goods side, I mean, we all talk about a BHEL and an L&T and a Siemens, but end of the day, when they execute projects, they use these, all this material very hungrily. And there are only 2 companies in this space. QME happens to be a market leader. In fact, worldwide, it's a market leader in some of the ceramic-based, applications. So I think very clearly there will be a growth which will be phenomenal as compared to what they've seen or not seen in the last couple of years. Some of these companies have grown whenever there's a revival, 3x of the previous year, so because they've had actually 1/3 of the business last year, which was normal. and suddenly you see this bounce back. So they've already seen traction from the auto guys. The order flow from the auto segment has been phenomenal, and it's getting into now, what is called the intermediate engineering products. So this will benefit from that capex, whether it's government, whether it's private participation, whatever you have it. The other restructuring that's done last 2 quarters they've been working on. They had a loss-making unit in South Africa, more because of lack of technical people, technical skills, and that they've moved the entire plant. They've moved to Cochin, which is where their presence is quite significant. That's helped them transfer the entire plant with the nominal fresh additional cost, and that will start throwing up new products next year. So FY16 may not see that so much, but FY17 will have a huge impact on savings from that drag that was there on the balance sheet. And it's a brilliant stock that's available. It's a marquee stock actually, which is available at less than 16-17 times FY17 earnings. So this has happened because quietly it's receded from its peak, 20-25%, but nobody otherwise tends to sell out of this stock even in times of crisis. So I think this is the time to go in for value rather than look at fresh stocks or fresh stories. This is a boring age-old story, but available at a very decent value.
Well, if you just looked at the top line numbers, it looks like it's going to be flat this year.
Yeah, so this year is not the game changer. It's next year where things. But the last 2 quarters of this year could also start seeing that happen. Perhaps. Because the industrial growth numbers that we've seen yesterday evening, phenomenal. I mean, you can't have 6.4. So that's what you say. How soon they get revised downwards, you don't know. But
usually IIP doesn't get revised downward. But it is only that just because you got 6.4, can you be sure of 6% next month? You cannot be, because it tends to be very lumpy and unpredictable.
But the components seem to be quite encouraging. What's contributing to that improvement, and we've seen that on the ground: power, mining, a lot of things.
All I was saying is, they have done about 1,200 crores of sales all of last year. In the first 2 quarters, they have done a shade less than 600 crores. Yeah. So, you wonder whether will they make it to 1,200 crores. But yes, the second half perhaps is where you have to trust them. Okay, Siddharth, you took us through Nifty, Bank Nifty.
The Bank Nifty, no doubt, and we all are seeing that it's underperforming. And will concur with the technical guy that Axis Bank is one of the weakest stock looking, which has good weightage in Bank Nifty also, and this is the main stock which is dragging or leading Bank Nifty to underperform. Again, around 600-800 levels between this zone, I mean to say 17,600, 17,800 zone of Bank Nifty is the resistance. We don't see a significant breach of this level as of now till the time private sector space like Axis, Kotak, they don't perform well. ICICI Bank has been doing well, but again, we don't believe the sustainability of this move. I think 290 to 300 zone is a stiff resistance, and unlikely the stock would breach that. Though we cannot say that the same kind of weakness is prevailing in PSU space. They have already been beaten down. We are seeing some traces of long positions, and that's the reason, though we don't have a proper trade in Bank Nifty, I have given you the resistance level, but PNB among some of the PSU banks is looking quite attractive at this point of time. Stock has good support around 134, 135 odd levels. At current levels, one can go long. I don't have very aggressive target price, but I'm expecting 149, 150 odd level, fixed stop somewhere around 131, 132 and go long over there.
Okay, so that's a long call coming in on Punjab National Bank for the morning. The other stock that you have a long call on, Siddharth, is NMDC. Take us through that.
Yes, surprisingly, as dollar was weakening after the Fed announcement, we saw huge rallies happening in metal space, whereas NMDC was underperforming. Even mining space were doing well, Coal India and other related stock in international space. A few days back, we saw 22% built up in NMDC around 96, 97 odd levels. And, couple of days move ensured that this is long built up, which has happened at lower levels, taking into consideration what is happening in the related space. I think this stock has substantial upside from current levels. Not aggressive target also here. I'm expecting probably 106, fix a stop somewhere around 92 and go long here. Disclaimer that we have strongly recommended these counters to our clients.
Okay, well, actually, I wanted to come back to you, Yogesh, because we were discussing the industrial growth numbers with Prakash just a little while ago. There is a bunch of capital goods stocks which could get at least sentimentally excited. Anything that is whose chart you have just seen, you know, it could be Crompton, Cummins, even Carborundum Universal that Siddharth mentioned, sorry, that Prakash mentioned. Any of the capital goods stocks, Voltas, you know the list.
Yeah, certainly, Latha. On the chart basis, that Voltas is something which is little interesting, and Crompton is near to the resistance level of 180, 182, which is closed at. So it would be little difficult if it sustains today above 182, then we can see some little up move up to 187, 188. And coming back to Voltas, now 250, 255 is a strong support level, and we have seen a good correction over from 370 to 240 level. So currently it is 275 somewhere. So looking at this, one can look at 290 to 285 to 290 range as a target, and downside support is 262 to 263 range.
Okay, that's on some of these capital goods names. But Prakash, wanted to talk to you about the stock of the day yesterday, which was Infosys, down almost 4% post its numbers. What would you do? Would you use this as an opportunity to lap up the stock, or do you think now? Oh, you would. Okay,
yes, very clearly.
There you have it.
No, because I think it went in with too much of high expectations. Very simple, you know, the last 2 quarters, the body language of the management made people believe this is going to repeat every quarter, at least for the next 1 year or whatever. But they have to have a reality check somewhere. And the fact that you are talking about newer large clients getting added, the CEO himself handling that pack, I mean, it's a great positive. And you have to give time for transformation to such large balance sheets. I mean, you can't expect a $3 billion company to, you know, start growing at 10% just in a matter of, you know, a couple of quarters. And the industry is tough. It's getting challenging. But I think they've done very well, whatever numbers we've seen. And the constant currency guidance is realistic enough. You shouldn't be expecting it to be all the time over the moon. So it's a real expectation versus, you know, what turned out. And that dip is something which I'm sure a lot of people would have bought into who are under-owned on Infosys, you know, because TCS is not also seeming very exciting. So where do you go? I mean, finally you have to stick to some weightages within the heavyweights also.
We will know today if they are able to outsmart the street or outperform. But Yogesh, on the same theme, charts of Infosys as well as TCS, how are they looking to you?
Latha, Infosys chart shows that, you know, 1090, 1095 is a support. If it breaches that, then we can see some more downside dragging up to 1060 somewhere, and keeping a stop of 1140. So this is the range, ballpark range for Nifty for Infy for today, 1140 to 1060 if it breaches 1090 level, and otherwise it will take a support there. And the other stock you mentioned is?
Yes. Okay, TCS was what I said. I think we temporarily lost the audio. TCS stock, does it look as anything as good as Infosys?
See, on TCS, it doesn't show any much kind of a momentum stock for the day, but though results is today, so maybe in action would be there. But 25-30 is the support which I can see there. 25-30, 35 is the range. So it would be somewhere more than 2.2%. It would be the stop loss on a going long. But upside there is a strong resistance level of 2640 to 2650 level.
Okay, and I also want your opinion, Siddharth. Infosys or TCS, anyone that you want to give us a strategy?
I'll first comment on TCS. We haven't seen many positions formed, Latha, in the stock. Yesterday we did see formation of short positions. Even what I can gauge, Infy results were quite good, but because of some key employees moving out and the guidance being a bit muted, stock reacted downwards. But the positions which got formed in Infy, I think it's blend of long and short both. TCS, mind you, since last 1.5 years has been in a range, very narrow range of 300 points. It is time for the stock to break out. Infosys in last 1 year has done better than TCS. A lot of people who were getting into Infy stating that there is huge valuation gap, I think would now look at TCS once again. TCS, I'm sure, would not have these temporary issues which Infy is going through. And again, such kind of issues do happen. One thing which people should know is that organization is perpetual entity. So individuals come and go. I think Infi and TCS from next 6 months to 1 year perspective are two large cap stocks which can make decent money compared to larger index.
Okay.
All right.
Disclosures on these stocks, Siddharth?
Yeah, we have been suggesting these to our clients, and these are stocks which actually most of our clients would have in their portfolio.
Okay, thanks for talking about all of those stocks. But we'll take a break. Before that, let's also tell you that Reliance might be in focus. US-based oil and gas consultant DeGolyer and McNaughton, or DNM as it is popularly called, has submitted its draft report on the Reliance ONGC gas issue to the DGH and to both the companies. News agency PTI says that the DNM report has found the connectivity between ONGC's G4 block and Reliance's KG-D6 block. PTI also says that the report of DNM has found that the DGH has erred in drawing the boundaries of the blocks by ignoring the seismic data on the presence of the reservoir and drew lines that bifurcated the reservoir rather than making it part of one block. According to PTI, DNM believes that at least 9 billion cubic meters of gas belonging to ONGC could have migrated to the KG-D6 wells. The draft report also says that Reliance had drawn almost 59 BCM of gas from the wells up to March 31st, 2015, out of which at least 9 BCM may belong to ONGC. This gas at $4.2 per million British thermal unit is worth $1.3 billion or almost 8,700 crores. Now, the DGH is expected to submit its report to the Oil Ministry, which will take the final call on this issue within 6 months itself. All right, take a break and we'll come back with the pre-opening rates. Welcome back to the show. As you can see, we'll get you a range of trading tips right here on CNBC TV 18. Our entire panel is with us this morning and we have about 3.5 minutes before the pre-opening rates kick in. Let's just take one look at what the SGX Nifty is suggesting as well. The last time I checked, a lot of the Asian markets were in the red. So Japan, Shanghai are all down more than 0.5% to 1%. And the SGX Nifty is also indicating that perhaps we could be in for a bit of a rough start. But let's talk about some stocks now. Prakash, you were telling us, you would buy Infosys on every dip. What about a stock like Zensar? That was in the news yesterday after Apax bought 20% in the company. Do you like that name?
Yeah, it is, but I think for the current price, it's definitely expensive. Apart from all these M&A activities, which do form a trigger of sorts, because it's a stock that's getting coveted because of shortage of supply, but there's no peer that's available. That's one of the other reasons why you have a premium attached to it. But I would not buy it at these levels. See, IT is becoming more of a valuation game. I mean, you buy it only if the valuation seems reasonable, because the headroom for growth is not, absolutely unlimited of sorts. So it's defined, it's capped at some stage. The best pick we have in that at this point is Tata Elxsi, provided it comes down, refuses to come down. But if it's available at under 1800, we would lap it up.
Okay. Well, there was a small part of the IIP conversation I didn't complete. Consumer durables, they've done reasonably well. It's a 17% growth, and April to August, which is how you should really look at these numbers, is also 7.7. I mean, 8% more consumer durables at a time when you...
not a very strong phase
number at all.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not a strong phase. And clearly, in all these months, exports have not helped at all. Not that we export consumer durables. Anything in that space?
Lloyd's.
Okay.
It's been on and disclosure is, of course, we have...
I only see it on the screen, so I assume it is in somebody's portfolio.
No, it's in fact, you'll be surprised, the ad campaign's taken off quite well. There is a pull that's there, when you talk to a Vijay Sales and, all of these. But it's not a brand that yet, which is competing with the Whirlpool or, the likes of Voltas and all of that. But it's into some very smart technology that they have adapted. They used to supply to all these guys. In fact, you'll be surprised, all the Samsung, LG ACs that we used were actually manufactured by Lloyd.
Oh, they were jobbing.
Yeah, and now they said, why don't we create our own brand? And they've gone on their own. So it'll take a while, but they have huge margin expansion that will come in their favor. And then we'll see some institutional activity also start coming their way.
All right, Siddharth, I wanted to get your view in on some of the metal stocks which have been the big gainers this month. How do you trade Vedanta and Hindalco?
Well, we have been suggesting people to move out of this stock. In fact, we did that yesterday also, but yesterday too, the move continued. So we are right now shying away from that space. And the only stock which we are liking at this point of time, and where we have seen some accumulation of longs and stock has not given substantial upside, but is in verge of giving, that is NMDC, which we spoke before. Other stocks, I think the dollar strength is going to start soon. And again, base metal prices on LMEs would correct, and these stocks which have gone significantly up would start giving their moves.
Okay. Well, we just have a few seconds, so I will not persist with a question for any of you. Let's wait for the pre-opening rates. I think we haven't got Yogesh telling us about his Sensex and his Bank Nifty and Nifty levels as well. The SGX Nifty is indicating a slightly soft start, -4. So it, and I guess the way in which the Asian markets have performed, that negativity is there in SGX Nifty. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of green, considering that we got excellent IIP and inflation numbers. The combination is what inflation down, growth up is the best macro combination that you can ask for. I would ignore the early numbers. I mean, Nifty is indicating completely wavered numbers. Sensex is quietly stable, but let's wait and see. I don't want to read out these numbers. They don't make any sense at this point in time. I can't remember what the rupee closing number was, but 64.88. I would assume the dollar is a little stronger. 64.76 or something it closed.
The close was 64.74, so there is a bit of a depreciation in the rupee this morning at 64.88.
Okay, not much. That would largely count as flat at this point in time. But I would think that there is enough good news in the Indian macros for the start to defy the Asian blues. I think we should at least have a positive start, but let's wait and see. The dollar's moved down a little from the first morning tick, and now the Sensex is persisting with a green tick, and the Nifty is reduced its losses. But again, these are wayward numbers. We will come back to them in just a minute. But Yogesh, let me use that time to ask you your Nifty and your Bank Nifty strategy today.
Srilata, on Nifty side, it is yesterday we have seen some negativity since last 8-9 sessions. So this was the first day of correction after 100 points of rally each session last week. So around 82.20, 82.30 would be the best level that upside would be visible, though IIP number and strong fundamental macro numbers has come. And downside, if we open at a flat node on 81.45 spot Nifty I'm talking about, then 8100 would be the support level, immediate support level. So one can look at a trading range for the Nifty would be between 8100 to say on the spot side to 8180, 8190 level on the higher side.
Okay, well, in pre-opening rates, BHEL is up almost about 1%, and so is L&T, because the capital goods numbers yesterday were very strong, with a growth of 21.8% in the month of August. So these two counters are looking quite good, and of course a whole host of others as well. We have Dr. C.K. Narayan, the MD of Growth Avenues, who joins in to give us his view on the index and how to approach a lot of these gainers. Dr. Narayan, good morning. What's the view on the index itself? Because we have been facing a bit of resistance at the 100 DMA of 82.20. What would the trading idea be for the day?
Well, trying to meet up with resistance after you have been up for about 500 points from the recent low is not really much of a surprise. It was more a question of when would that resistance show up rather than if it would show up at all. So I think the markets are in a bit of a mood to react, because we have had a pretty decent run. Most stocks and sectors have rallied, even the down and out ones. So I think a little bit of pullback is in order here, and I would think we should be dropping down to about 8050, 8080 on the Nifty futures before we meet up with meaningful support. So I would suggest for Nifty traders who are inclined to buy, they should probably wait for a drop into support somewhere near 8080 and begin their buying campaign from there in bits and pieces. For those who are more inclined towards day trades, the higher levels today should be a level to go short. I think it seems like we are going to set off the day a bit softish. So maybe on the higher end, 8190 or closer to 8200 will be the higher areas where supplies could actually resume. So today for day traders, at high levels, 8180 to 8200 would be a range to short into. And closer to 81, 8120, that is the range day traders can buy back. But for swing traders, I would suggest waiting down to 8080 down till 8050 to initiate long positions. They are not, they should not really be looking to short.
Actually, at the moment, looks like the Sensex and the Nifty have not made up their minds. They're moving in contrary directions. So we'll wait. BHEL is steady, as is L&T. Those are the stocks that are showing an uptick. BPCL, one can understand the initial uptick will be there because crude prices have receded considerably. In fact, yesterday's fall took away half of last week's gains in crude prices. So the first uptick in BPCL being positive, one can understand. Actually, let me toss those stocks technically to our experts. Yogesh, anything left to juice out in BPCL?
BPCL 849, 850 around, we can look at support level is 830, 35 level. So looking at yesterday's event on the crude price, one can look at if at all on a buy side, then keeping a stop loss of 830, one can go long, and target would be 865 to 870 level. But rather than that, HPCL on the technical setup looks a little better on the in terms of technicals probably. Currently it is 760. 55 is a strong support level. It is near to that the close, so we can look at 785, 795 would be the target respectively.
And let me just finish the argument, the discussion we started with Prakash on consumer durables when you spoke about Lloyd's. Yogesh, any of the consumer durable names, I know there must not be all of them very high volume or F&O trades, but anything at all, you know, if Hitachi, Blue Star, Videocon, I don't know, which of them would evoke any interest today?
Probably on the consumer durable side, no, doesn't seems to be, because those are very thinly traded and the volume is not so good. So that does not support at all on the technical side. So nothing of those kind of stocks under technicals.
Okay, well, one stock in the broader markets that could be in focus this morning is Cox & Kings. That company has acquired a UK-based online hotel booking specialist called Late Rooms for 80 to 85 crores. So that's strategically important for the company. You tracked this one, Prakash. Would you buy Cox & Kings at 250 bucks?
I think so. So from the time I mentioned this stock on one of the shows here was about 200 bucks that time, and it was just about to kind of move into its new phase of growth. That they talked about these inorganic growth, and given the fact that Thomas Cook has done it so well, you know, Cox & Kings also would have to kind of follow that path, because accelerated growth is what everybody is looking at in that space. And the UK market is something where Cox & Kings has a very good brand value. You know, they've done an acquisition in the past which has paid off, and hotel aggregation, you know, room aggregation is something which is not yet overcrowded. So there is space to kind of differentiate, and it's a very high margin business. We've also discussed a stock called Bike Hospitality, which thrives on this, but it's more domestic.
Okay.
You know, so you'll see a lot of activity in this space going forward. But this is a very good company. Late Rooms is last minute check-ins, you know, so you land up at a place and then you figure out where you want to stay. So it's very different from pre-booked leisure holidays.
It's an aggregator, basically.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Like Oyo rooms.
Yeah, so exactly. But Oyo is for people who have plans and who are really looking at just cheap, better rooms. Whereas this is more of, you know, availability is an issue in especially the larger metros like Paris, London, you know, so, and you want to be in Main Street of any of these larger metros, so availability becomes an issue. But Cox & Kings is integrating all of these acquisitions very well. So I think it's a stock to watch out for. Both of them are good, but valuations is an issue. A lot of people have issues with the stretched valuation that some of these companies fetch. So we'd also recommended to clients a company in the same space, lower valuations, less expensive, called International Travel House, which is an ITC associate, if you remember I had mentioned that. So that's also doing well, but it's very different from these in terms of scale.
All right, Prakash, we've kept you for a longish bit. Thank you very much for joining us. Yogesh, thank you as well. Siddharth, just one final question before we thank you, unless Sonia has more, of course. Any of the capital goods stocks or BPCLs, BHELs, all that we discussed, anything more that springs to the mind after you saw the pre-opening rates?
Yeah, so L&T, you guys have been talking, and I have a strategy there. Rather than giving weightage to IIP numbers, I would give weightage to F&O data and what Mr. Naik commented a couple of weeks back. So we haven't seen much of short covering, and neither we have seen any formation of long position. So entire rally from sub 1400 to 1550 levels has happened in L&T with minor unwinding of open interest. This clearly suggests that this up move is not sustainable, and between 1550 1600 this stock has resistance. So I would suggest traders, this is one of the large cap stock apart from Axis Bank, where the trend is quite clear from F&O data perspective. So one can form fresh shorts over here with a stop loss around 1610 1615, and though we have aggressive targets, but right now we are restricting ourselves to 1430 1440 odd levels.
Okay. Dr. Narayan, do you have one or two trading ideas from the frontliners that you would be recommending today?
Well, not from a day's perspective, but certainly I would think that stocks like let's say Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Bharat Forge, these are all stocks which have put in some sort of intermediate bottom. Now they're all up and away from that bottom, so it doesn't really seem like a very good idea to charge in there and buy it for the day. What I'm suggesting here is that these are three stocks that one must look at to buy during pullbacks, and it does seem like currently we are in the midst of a pullback which began from the highs at 8250 in the Nifty futures yesterday. So I would watch these these three stocks, and I would look at some buying opportunity when they tap down into some sort of support zone, and watch stocks more like these, because I think during result season the volatility is a bit too much and stocks get whipped around on both sides because of sudden takes on what are certain set of numbers, and then there is a revaluation and whatnot. So I would suggest that more than engage in day trading during results time, it would be better to map out our favorite stocks, map out their levels of supports, because inherently we want to be buyers on dips. Therefore, map out the supports and wait for it to probably drop down somewhere near that and then initiate long positions.
Okay, you won't touch the bank Nifty, Dr. Narayan?
Well, the bank Nifty has also performed as well as the Nifty and also risen to the level of about 17,800, 850, which we had marked as the outer bounds for this rally. So therefore, that is also behaving very similar to the Nifty. I don't find that the bank Nifty has really developed anything extra in terms of upside traction that makes me want to go into some individual bank stocks. I think all of them have rallied with the market. None of them seem to have really developed individual momentum. Like, I just mentioned Tisco Telco and those two stocks, they have developed individual momentum. So the market's upside rally is just incidental in their going up. It's not they're going up because of the market rally. But none of the bank stocks seem to be doing that. They are just rallying along with the market. So they'll just, wax and wane with the market movement. So I'm not really gung-ho about any bank stock as of now.
Incidentally, it was nice to hear someone say Tisco Telco.
Yes, the lingo that we used to use way back in the day.
Jurassic.
It struck a chord, so there are quite a few who are Jurassic here. But you want to recap, Sonia?
All right, so that don't worry, you have nothing to worry about in this department. But here's a quick recap of a lot of the stocks that our analysts have recommended today. First up, Yogesh Mehta's stocks for today. He has two buy calls. The first one is on Z Entertainment with a target to be placed at 420 and a stop loss at 391. Another one is a long call on Ashok Leyland with a target of 100 and a stop loss at 91 as well. And he has one sell call on Axis Bank with a target of 461 and a stop loss of 500 rupees.
Okay, and let me recap Siddharth Bhamre's stocks as well for the day. He has two buy calls, starting with PNB, where he sees a target of 149, stop loss at 131. He also has a buy on NMDC, target is at 106, stop loss at 92. And Siddharth's short call is on L&T. He places a target at 1430 and the stop loss it's 1610. Siddharth Bhamre, thank you very much for joining us with your morning picks. Dr. Narayan, one more set of stocks for you. We still have a couple of minutes before the actual rate strike.